Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, My Life in Scrubs. I'm Stacy. I'm a registered nurse. I've been in healthcare for 28 years. I became an LPN in 2011 and an RN. I became an LPN in 2001 and I became an RN in 2013. And most of my journey has been in long-term care, but I have been working in hospice for the last 4 years. I thought today that I could talk about going back to school or continuing education. You know, in nursing and in healthcare in general, we are always doing some form of continuing education and learning something new because medicine is always changing. Healthcare is always changing. The laws are changing. The procedures are advanced and changing. The rules that we follow are changing. But I decided that I wanted to obtain my bachelor's degree. I started as a CNA when I was 19 and just continued working my way up, and I've been a slow goer, and I think I've talked about that before. But I decided I wanted my bachelor's degree, and I put it off and put it off and put it off. And I was always told that you would have to have your bachelor's degree by a certain point. And I think with the shortage of nurses who are willing to work, who want to do this anymore, that they don't require that you have a bachelor's degree anymore. But I do want a bachelor's degree and even a master's degree. I haven't decided how that's going to go, but I am almost through with my bachelor's degree, which has been really challenging. And what I'm wondering is, how do you balance school life, work life, and home life? Is it even possible? Are you organized? Do you know what's due when it's due? Or do you find yourself looking at what's due the day that it's due? Because there are some times when my work schedule keeps me from looking at my school until the weekend. And unfortunately, I have missed assignments doing this. So it's not a good plan to not look ahead and know what's going on. What I wonder is, what kind of organizational person are you? Are you the kind of person that has lists, calendars, reminders? Do you follow all of those things? Because honestly, I don't. I can't say that I'm a type A person. I do have organization. I do remember things that I'm supposed to do generally. I do know about the deadlines. Like, I look ahead a week or so, and it's in here. But if I write it down, I'm going to leave that list somewhere. I'm not going to take it with me, and I'm never going to look at it again, because once I write it down, it's in here. And I don't forget things, but I let other things get in the way of the things that I know I need to be doing. I guess you would say that sometimes I'm a procrastinator about school assignments, for example, or reports that have to be due. I think I've talked before about how I don't love documentation, and that's one of the most important aspects of our job is documentation. And going for your bachelor's degree is a whole lot of writing and researching and reports and PowerPoint presentations, which I think I've gotten pretty good at putting a PowerPoint presentation together, but I have a tendency to wait until the day it's due to get it done, because with work, I find that I don't have that 4 hours that I should be devoting to my class. They say when you're in school that you should devote a 4-hour time frame to studying per class each day. And I think the beautiful thing about what I'm doing is that I do have my background in nursing, and I have a lot of experience in nursing, so that a lot of these things that I am learning about or reading are not new topics for me, but it is very time consuming to put together a presentation with APA format. Do you hate APA format as much as I do? Because I am just over it, to be honest. But the thing is, I have always felt like I wanted to be a nurse practitioner or maybe teach in university. And I need my master's degree to do those things. And unfortunately, I have put off education, and now I'm, close to my 50s. So I have not reached the goal that I set for myself when I was in my 30s. I told myself I wanted to be a nurse practitioner by the time I was 50, and I am approaching 50 rapidly. And so I'm not a nurse practitioner. But that is the goal, that is the plan, and I am really struggling to figure out how to balance my home life, doing the things that I need to do in my house, because we don't want to live in a messy home, right? We don't want to live with dishes everywhere, laundry not put away, but hey, let's face it, we're nurses and we do that sometimes. We don't want to live that way, but we also have to get the things done that we have to get done at work. And when you're at work and you're a nurse, it's not like you punch your time card at the time that you're supposed to leave and you get to go, right? You don't get to do that. Sometimes you're working over as a nurse because there are unforeseeable things that are going to happen when you're a nurse. It's just the way it is. And because of those things, then maybe you find yourself staying up late doing a school assignment that was due. And I'm going to be honest, I'm thankful for the time difference where my university is. I'm doing it online. And because of the time difference, sometimes, staying up till midnight or 1 is getting me to my deadline that I have at my online university in another state. That is the thing I do love about school. When I went to school to become an LPN, I had to go to the program and do it. When I went to school to become an RN, I had to go to the program full time and doing it. And now working on my bachelor's degree, I have loved the ability to take classes online at the pace I need to go to be able to function in my home life, my work life, and my school life. There have been times when I thought maybe I wasn't going to pass a class because I didn't know how I was going to make time to do these assignments. Thankfully, I have managed to get through them, several of them, and I am almost at the finish line of the bachelor's degree. I've heard a lot of people say a bachelor's degree is not important. To me, it's important. For my job, it's not important, but I feel like it's, for me, something that makes me feel like I've accomplished more. It doesn't matter to anybody else who's working around me. It really doesn't, because we're all doing the same thing. But I do think that I've learned some perspective that I didn't have before I started doing the bachelor's degree classes. Same thing when I was an LPN working alongside RNs in long-term care. We were doing the same type of jobs, right? There was no specific delineation of responsibility. We were giving injections, we were doing assessments, we were doing documentation. I do realize now that an RN had to work on the Medicare hall and do the Medicare documentation. That was not done by an LPN. But at the time, working with RNs and LPNs, I never did really get a sense that there was a difference between the two of us in the long-term care setting because we were doing the same job side by side. And I think I've said this before too, that they were in leadership roles in long-term care. LPNs, and there's many LPNs who had a greater knowledge base than me. I mean, it depends on where you are in your career. But when I became an RN, after I had been an LPN for 11 years, I realized that there were a lot of things that I was not taught as an LPN, that there were things that I didn't know. And I have worked in management roles as an RN, and I don't think I was very successful all the time. But taking my BSN, my bachelor's degree, I feel like I have learned some things that would be useful to somebody who wants to be a manager. I feel like having a bachelor's degree would prepare you for a leadership role, if that's what you want to do. And I think that furthering your education is always important in a healthcare setting because, right, it's always changing and there's always something you can be learning. I'm learning something new every day as a nurse. But unfortunately, I am not the girl who is managing the calendar and the lists and the reminders, because even though I have all of this beautiful technology at my fingers, I simply don't use it. So how do you manage your time? How do you get your schoolwork done? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And I thank you for watching, and I hope you come back soon. And if you like my content, I hope that you would like, subscribe, and follow. Thank you. Come again.